You do not have to go broke to pay for a nursing home. Almost everyone believes you do. They think that if you ever need care, you have to spend everything you saved, down to your last $2,000, before Medicaid will help. That is false, and believing it costs families a fortune every single year. There are legal places you can put your money and your home that a nursing home cannot reach and Medicaid cannot count. They are not loopholes and they are not tricks. They are written right into the rules, and most families are simply never told they exist. Here they are, one by one. First, why this matters so much, in plain numbers. Nursing home care now runs well over $10,000 a month. The only program that covers years of it is Medicaid, and Medicaid was built for people with almost nothing left. In most states, a single applicant has to be down to roughly $2,000 in countable savings before it will step in. So the road most families get marched down is blunt and cruel. Spend nearly everything you own on care until you are almost broke, and only then does the help arrive. A lifetime of saving, poured out month after month until there is nothing left to protect. That is the trap. And almost everything that follows is a legal way out of it if you plan in time. The most powerful tool of all is a particular kind of trust. Not the ordinary kind most people have. The kind that does the work here is the irrevocable kind, the sort you build specifically to put assets beyond the reach of long-term care. Here is the idea. You move your savings, and often your home, into this trust while you are healthy. Once it is done properly, those assets are no longer counted as yours in the eyes of Medicaid. They are protected, out of reach of the nursing home and out of reach of the state later on. You can usually still live in your home for the rest of your life, and you can name your children to manage the trust. What you give up is control. You cannot reach back in and grab the money on a whim. Handing over that control is the cost, and it is the very thing that makes Medicaid stop treating those assets as yours. But there is one rule that makes or breaks this entire tool, and you have to hear it clearly. It only works if it is done early. The day you apply for Medicaid, they comb through the previous 5 years of your finances, every transfer and every gift. Move your home into that trust more than 5 years ahead of the application, and it is fully protected. Do it with only 4 years of runway, and the clock has not finished, so it counts against you. So this is not something to do in a crisis. It is something to do while you are still well, and the need feels far away. The families who keep their savings started the conversation years before anyone got sick. Now, a warning that costs families dearly because it hides inside a word almost everyone gets wrong. A revocable living trust, the ordinary kind people set up to avoid probate, does not protect you here at all. Because you can change or cancel at any time, the law still counts everything inside it as yours. Only the irrevocable kind, the one you cannot freely undo, puts the assets out of reach. People assume the trust they already have will save them, and they find out too late that it does nothing against a nursing home bill. The second tool is built for married couples, and it is one of the most useful of all. It is a Medicaid-compliant annuity. Imagine one spouse needs care, and the other is still healthy and living at home. The couple has savings that would otherwise have to be spent down. With this tool, you take a chunk of that countable money and convert it into a protected income stream that pays the healthy spouse a set amount every month. Because the lump sum is gone and only the income remains, that money no longer counts against eligibility. It is a way to turn savings that Medicaid would have forced you to spend into income for the spouse who is staying behind. Done right, it can protect a great deal of money that a family assumed was simply lost. To see how much that can matter, picture a couple with about $200,000 in savings when the husband suddenly needs care. Without any planning, most of that would have to be spent down on his nursing home before Medicaid stepped in, leaving his wife at home with very little to live on for the years she has left. By moving a large part of it into a Medicaid-compliant annuity, that same money becomes a monthly income paid to her instead, income she is allowed to keep. What looked like $200,000 the family was about to lose becomes support for the person staying behind. Nothing was hidden and nothing was broken. The money was simply moved into a form the rules already protect. The third thing to understand is what Medicaid already leaves alone, the assets it never counts in the first place, because families often panic and spin down the wrong things. Your home has its own protection while you are alive. If your spouse or a child under 21 or a disabled child lives there, it is exempt. And even if you live alone, the home is generally protected up to an equity limit, which in most states is around $750,000, and in some states over $1 million. One vehicle is exempt. Your household goods, your furniture, your appliances, your clothing, your wedding ring, all exempt. People sell and drain these thinking they have to. They do not. The fourth set of tools are the smaller ones that quietly add up. You can prepay your funeral through what is called an irrevocable funeral trust, and money set aside that way is protected up to your state limit instead of being spent on care. Burial plots are exempt, and life insurance has a quiet rule worth knowing. If the total face value of your whole life policies is $1,500 or less, they are exempt entirely. And a term life policy, the kind that builds no cash value, is protected no matter its size. None of these alone will save a fortune, but together they shelter money that would otherwise vanish. And there is one more protection that surprises people, the one for the spouse who stays home. When one partner enters care, the law does not leave the other with nothing. The spouse at home is allowed to keep a real share of the couple's savings, over $150,000 in most states this year, on top of the house and a car. The law also props their monthly income up to a set floor, so the partner who stays home can still cover the groceries, the utilities, and the ordinary cost of a life that keeps going. The system was never built to strip a healthy husband or wife bare, even though many families assume it is, and hand over money they were always entitled to keep. So step back and look at what that adds up to. Between an irrevocable trust set up in time, an annuity for a couple, the home and its protections, the smaller exemptions, and the rights of the spouse at home, a family that plans can protect a very large share of what they spent a lifetime building. The families who lose everything are almost never the ones who had too much. They are the ones who were never told any of this existed and only learned the rules after the bills had already started. Now let me be honest about the limits, because this is exactly where people get hurt by bad advice. These tools are precise, and a mistake can undo all of them. An irrevocable trust that is written even slightly wrong can fail when you need it most and count against you anyway. So this is no place for a download and sign template, or a general practice lawyer who touches this once a year. Use someone whose whole day is elder law and Medicaid planning. It costs more than a cheap form, and it is worth every dollar, because the entire point is that it holds up under scrutiny at the worst possible moment. The rules also differ from state to state, and some are shifting right now. The home equity limits vary. A few states are changing how the look-back works. Which tools fit and how the clock runs turns on your particular state. So confirm your own rules with a local expert instead of trusting a number you happen to pick up from a screen. And if the emergency is already on you, a fresh diagnosis, a parent moving into care next month, do not throw up your hands. The heaviest tools want that 5-year runway, true. But last-minute planning is a craft of its own, and a sharp attorney can frequently still shield a real portion of what is left instead of letting it all drain away. Surrendering everything out of fear is the one move you can never take back. So pull it together. The wall between your savings and a nursing home is not the size of your bank account. It is knowledge and timing. A trust built ahead of time, an annuity for a married couple, the exemptions nobody mentions, the rights of the spouse who stays home. Each one is a legal door, and every one of them stays open only while you are still healthy enough to walk through it. One thing I have to be straight about. I am not a lawyer, and none of this is legal guidance for your particular case. This corner of the law is dense. It shifts from one state to the next, and parts of it are being rewritten as we speak. Treat it as the nudge to book a single appointment with an elder law attorney and map your own plan, while you are well and the choices are all still yours. The families who hold on to what they built did not have more than everyone else. They simply asked these questions early, before the day it all turned urgent.